Hi, how you doing? I hope you can hear me over this wind. It's quite windy. Coming here from Whitley Bay. It's been suggested to me, because of my background, i.e. a garage proprietor for 35 years, and more recently a professional driver, driving a coach, an ambulance, and more recently driving a minibus for a school. Then I should do a video on how to prepare your vehicle and yourself to cope with the UK winter. So, I'll give it a go. Well, just to recap, just in case you didn't hear what I said in all that wind, in this video I'm going to give you some hints and tips to get you and your car ready for a UK winter. These hints and tips have been what I've picked up over the last 40 odd years in the motor trade and more recently as a driver. I'll try and make this information simple and easy to follow, so you won't need a degree in engineering to follow it or to carry out the simple checks that I'm going to tell you about. The maintenance tips I'm going to tell you are general tips, not meant for any specific vehicle. This information is not in any order of importance. It's I'm trying to do it in a methodical way so that you can follow it more easily and less likely to forget anything. So I'm going to do the car maintenance part in 3 sections: outside the vehicle, inside the vehicle, and finally under the bonnet. So we'll make a start. Okay, we'll start with a very easy one: all the glass on your vehicle, side windows, windscreens, mirrors, light lenses. What we're checking for is security and that they're intact. No stone chips, no little cracks. So give them a bit of a tug, go around and look, and start in one corner and go all around so you don't miss any. And a clean vehicle is an advantage on this one. You might think that's a bit unnecessary and a bit picky, but what we're trying to do is find a minor defect now and stop it from becoming a major one in the adverse weather. If you've got a little crack in your windscreen, the ice and snow can make it much worse. And if water does get into your windscreen, when it turns really cold and it turns to ice, the ice expands and this can crack your window. Moving on, we go to wiper blades. To check the wiper blades, if you just put between your finger and thumb and run your finger and thumb down, mine's fine because it's just past an MOT. Something else that a lot of people overlook is the wiper arms. Make sure they're secure, and there's a hinge here and a spring here, and their job is to pull it onto the screen. If yours is seized, a lot of them seized, pull there, it might stick. So you can have the best wiper blades in the world, they won't clean your screen. If it's not pulling it against the screen, good blades are no good. Moving on to the lights. If you can get an assistant to give you a hand with this, it makes it a lot easier, but you can do it on your own. And remember, lights are much more effective when the lenses are clean. So we've got side lights, headlights on dipped beam, headlights on main beam. Just as something you probably already know, but I think a lot of people don't. When you see all the people driving towards you with their main beam on, when the main beam is on, there's a little blue warning light comes on your dash. That's to let you know you've got your main beam on. Don't forget your front fog lights. And note, they only work, on most cars, they only work when the headlights are on. And sometimes the headlights on cars only work if the ignition is on. Mine work without the ignition, but some don't. Indicators, and you will need the ignition on for this one. And don't forget the little repeater light in the front wing. A lot of people overlook that. And if you do have a bulb blown on your indicators, it's normally quite easy to tell because your flashers flash very fast. Don't forget the hazards. If you're broken down, they're very important. And don't forget the rear lights, just as important. So that's the side lights. That's 2 side lights, and don't forget your number plate lights. Rear fog lights. On this model, it's in the middle of the bumper. Sometimes you have 2 either side, and sometimes you only have 1. The ones that only have 1, it's on the driver's side. So if you've only got 1 lighting up on your driver's side, that's fine. And brake lights. When you're checking your brake lights, that is a one that's definitely easier with an assistant. But you can either back it up to something. The shop window is good. If you back it up to a shop window, you can look and see if they're all working. Sometimes you can only see that the lights come on, but you can't tell that it's all of them. So as I say, a shop window is quite good. Or you can get a block of wood or something and push it against the seat. I used to do this all the time, and go around the back and have a look. You will need the ignition on this one. And a little tip, I always used to do this with the side lights on. Side lights should be on and then go brighter when you press the brake. If you've got one side light brighter than the other one, and then when you press the brake, they both become the same brightness, the odds are somebody's put the brake light bulb in the wrong way around. That's very common. It should be impossible to do that, because there's little location lugs on them and they're offset. So it should only be possible to put a brake light in one way. But sometimes people are a bit ham-fisted and they force them in. And you see it all the time, that somebody's forced the bulb in and they've forced it in the wrong way around. So just a little tip. And finally, reverse lights. And again, you will need the ignition on for this. Put it into reverse gear, handbrake on, go around the back, have a look. Don't forget to take it out of gear when you go back, because you'll get in and you'll start it up in gear and go shooting back. Okay, the last thing on the outside of the vehicle section is tyres. And you might not know what to blow your tyres up to. So most vehicles have got a information plate, and it's normally on the door posts. Sometimes the passenger side. It's more than likely that it'll be on the door posts. On mine it is. It's just down here, and you probably know, but just in case you don't, I'll tell you what the little drawings mean. This is the front of the vehicle, rear of the vehicle. This is 2 people, 1 or 2 people, and this one is fully loaded with everybody in and their suitcases. So this is what you set the tyres to when it's just you, or you and the wife, or you and your friends going on holiday. And down the bottom, the camera's not focusing in very well, but you see it's got bar, and then it's got PSI in brackets, which means the numbers without the brackets are what it should be blown up, bar, and the number in the brackets is PSI, pounds per square inch. Now, this is terrible. It won't focus. So anyway, what it is if it's only you or you and your friend unladen, that says 25 or 2.5 bar 36 psi in the front, and that one says 2.3 34 psi in the rear. If you're fully laden, it's 2.5 bar 36 psi in the front, which is the same, but where your bags and everything are going to be, 2.9 bar 42 psi in the back. Well, tyres. There's quite a bit to say about tyres, but it's really quite important, because tyres are one of the most important things on your car. They're the only contact you have with the road, and when the ice and snow comes, you want the best grip that you can. So I'm going to split the tyre bit into 4 sections. checking the pressure, checking the tread, checking the wear, and there's another part about directional tyres. But we'll go with the condition first. What you're looking for on a tyre, and don't forget the sidewall. Sidewalls can get little cracks and perishes, and if you've bumped the curb, you can have a bulge in the side of your tyre. They're all things you don't want. Even the rim, check the rim isn't damaged, and have a good look. It might be a bit awkward, you might have to get on your hands and knees. I've got the advantages having the car on the ramp, just to make it a bit easier. The current law for tyres, tyre tread depth, is 1.6 millimeters, and it has to be over 3/4 of the tyre in the centre of the tyre, and it has to last all the way around the circumference of the tyre. Garages normally use this little tool. You just push that down and you put that into the tread, put that across the tyres and put that into the tread, and then you go around till you get the line. So 7 millimeters that one is, because that one's virtually new. 7 millimeters that one is, and you're allowed 1.6. Now you have to check it, not just in one place. You have to check it on the outside edge, middle, inside edge, and different places around the tyre. But there is a design on the tyres that makes it easy to do a quick check on the tyres. It's called a tread wear indicator. Now, actually I'm going to turn this off. I want to show you on one of the tyres in the rack. It's much easier to see on a worn tyre than it is on a one with new tyre. Can you see this line across here? Now that raised piece in the bottom of the tread is 1.6 mil. So you want to catch your tyre before there's a smooth line. Now it's a pity I haven't got any older ones to show you, because they do, on a really worn tyre, it stands out like a sore thumb, and there's a line that goes across and it's smooth. If you've got a trace of a tread, it's legal. But obviously, the more tread you've got, the more grip you're going to get. So if you're somewhere where you get a lot of snow, you really should be replacing your tyres before they get to 1.6 mil. Now, if you're having trouble finding the tread wear indicators, they're all different, but on some you can see there's a little triangle. Can you see it? I don't know. And if you look, that's where the tread wear indicator is. But you see on this new tyre, much harder to see. But if you could tell at a glance on that tyre, they've just got plenty of tread. Checking for uneven wear on your tyre is a good thing, because sometimes that gives you a clue to an underlying problem. For example, if your tyre was wearing badly down the middle, but the two sides were okay, that would indicate overinflation. Tyre's been blown up too hard. If, on the other hand, the two sides are wearing, that's an indication that underinflation. Now, it might not be, it's just an indication. And if you get one where the tread is worn on either one side or the other, that side is worn, that side is fine, that could be most commonly tracking, which is the steering geometry, if I can say it, on your vehicle. Or it could be something more sinister, like worn suspension or steering, wheel bearing, ball joints, track rod ends, steering rack, something like that. If that is the case, you need to go and see a professional, and you need to go straight away. Okay, how do you check the tyre pressures on your car? There's always garage forecourts, but if you don't want to have the hassle of going down to the forecourt, you can buy these little gauges. There's loads of them around. This one isn't actually mine, I've borrowed it for today. But all you do, it's dead simple. Take the cap off, put that on, make sure you put it on straight and push it on. You hear the hiss? Then leave go and the reading will stay there until you release it. And that one is just over 36 psi, just over 2.5 bar. You see it's got both readings. The bar is on the outside and the psi is on the inside. It's just the equivalent. It doesn't mean anything. I normally go with psi, but bar's fine as well. And all the inflators at garages and things, they've all got the same thing. It's two scales. And then when you're finished, you want to do the next one, you just push that and it goes back to 0 and do the next one. You can pick them up from car accessory shops and things like that. I did price a tread depth gauge and a tyre pressure gauge last night on the internet, and I'll tell you what the prices are and where they were for sale later on, but you can get them anywhere. It's important to say when you're doing all these things about checking for damage and checking for tyre pressures and things like that, don't forget your spare. Know where your spare is and know where and how to get it out. Also, I was going to mention it later, but I'll say now, like this one's got a locking wheel stud on this case, but locking wheel nut, and there's a special tool that you need to get it off. And people hide them in all sorts of different places, because obviously if someone is trying to pinch your wheels, you don't want to hand them the tool. So you can hide them all different places. Make sure you know where yours is, and make sure you keep it in the car at all times, because it's no good in the house. Right, we're nearly done on the tyres. There's just one more thing I want to say. Some tyres are meant to rotate in a certain direction. And you might think I'm getting too technical, and what does that matter? It is very important, because they're designed to expel water in the direction that they're meant to go. So if you've got them on wrong, they're going to be turning the wrong way and they won't be expelling water, and there's a thing called aquaplaning, where the water gets between the tyre and the road and seriously affects your steering and braking. So you definitely don't want that. Now I'm just gonna change the position of the camera, and I've got two different tyres here, and they're marked in different ways, and it's easier to show you than to try and tell you. Okay, we'll start with the one on my car, and I've put some tyre chalk on to make it easier to read. It doesn't normally have this on, so you sometimes have to look quite hard to find it. You see that says outside. Now that means that side of the tyre has to be to the outside of the vehicle. Obviously not on the other side. Now that is the way it is fitted onto the rim. So in this case, you could take that wheel off, which is on the driver's side, and you could put it on the passenger side, and it would be fine, because the outside is still pointing to the outside. Whereas the other type of tyre you can get, it says direction. Now that arrow is pointing in the direction that the tyre should travel in. And you can see by the way it's cut, they're all going towards that way. So the tyre tread is cut to expel the water in that direction. Now if you had this on this side, fitted onto the rim correctly, but then for some reason you wanted to change it and put it on the passenger side, it would now be turning in the wrong direction. So the difference between directional and the one with outside is, outside, as long as it is fitted onto the rim correctly, pointing to the outside of the vehicle, it can go in any place on the car. This one, however, in this case, it would have to go on the driver's side, because it's forward rotation that you're talking about, and that would be to be fitted onto the driver's side. This would not be allowed to go on the passenger side. It would, of course, if you took it off the rim and turned it around on the rim, but that's another thing. Also, I said before that I wasn't going to tell you how to determine the size of the tyre, or what the numbers mean on the side of the tyre. It's probably worth telling you. You might not be interested, but you might. This one is 185 70 R14 88H. This 185 is the distance between there and there. The 70 is the profile of the tyre, which is there to there. The R stands for radial. Most tyres now are radials. You very rarely see a cross-ply tyre anymore. And 14 is the wheel size, the rim size. The 88 is just a manufacturer's code, but the H is a speed rating. And you must put the same speed rating tyre on your car that you take off. And it goes from S to T to H to V to W. And you very rarely see a road car with a higher rated tyre than a W. If you were stuck, you could put a higher rated tyre on, but you can't do it the other way. You couldn't put a H when the one that came off was a V. I hope that makes sense. Hi, how are you doing? I hope you're enjoying my little video. I hope it's entertaining and informative, and I hope you're getting something out of it. As you can see, I'm not at the garage now. I'm at home doing the editing. The reason I'm doing this little piece now is to explain that I'm going to have to release this in 2 parts because we've overrun on time and it's just too long to do in one video. Also, we've had some gremlins on this video as well. A couple of the scenes that I shot at the garage, now that I'm home, they won't play. I don't know why. I've never had that before. So I think I'll just say what I was going to say in the descriptions. So if you give the descriptions a quick read, you never know, it might be something important. And I'll tell you the prices of the 3 tools that I was going to tell you as well. I'll put that in the description as well. So still to come in part 2, there is what to check inside your vehicle, what to check under your bonnet, things you should be taking with you in the boot, things you should carry with you in the boot, I should say, and a couple of general hints and tips. So I hope to see you in part 2. If you're enjoying the video, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in part 2. So you take care, and thank you for watching.